What's up, riders? Old man Ronin here. Welcome back to the channel. Well, if you can't tell, it's fall here in Ohio, and in fact, it's only 37 degrees this morning. So I thought I would take the Iron 883 out and give you a few cold weather riding tips we use here in the Buckeye State. It's going to be a blast, just hopefully not an Arctic blast. Stay tuned.
Cold weather riding, yes. It's warmed up a little bit. I think it's 40 degrees right now. When I first started getting ready for this video, it's 36 to 39. I've had one of those days. This is my third time recording it because I've had some the mechanical errors, and I've also did a couple moments too where I accidentally erased all the footage. So yeah, the life of a YouTuber. It's not all fun and games, baby. But anyways, it still gives me time on the motorcycle, and that's what is all important. So what we're going to talk about today is cold weather riding. You know, here in Ohio, we have, usually summer starts in June and it ends in September, the way it seems, as far as riding weather. And the rest of the time of the year, it's cold and snowy or rainy. And so if you don't get used to riding in the rain and the cold weather, you're not riding at all. And I've ridden year-round almost all of my life. I've backed off of it a little bit in the last few years, but that's going to change when I have this channel. I'm going to ride just like I used to in all weather. I'll probably not do it in the snow like I used to do. I mean, there was times when I was working a few bars up in Stark and Tuscarawas County, where I would go to work late at night, ride my motorcycle, and even do it in the snow and the freezing rain. I know it's crazy, but I was kind of cocky back in those days, hence that's when I got my nickname Ronin. And so that's I used to, like I said, I'd wear my chaps and my leathers, and I'd go to work. In fact, I remember one time, not one time, but several times I'd go to work where I would actually have ice form on my leathers, and people would just say, "You're insane." But I love riding motorcycles. Now, I don't recommend you people doing that. That was something I used to do. Back in those days, I had either an FXR or an early Dyna, and I used to, no windshield, just like I'm riding today on the Iron 883. No windshield or anything like that. I mean, it makes it more comfortable, and I do, in colder weather, a lot of times ride the Road King that has a windshield. But since I've got a full face helmet on today, and I've got my cold weather outfit on, there's no sense in me doing that. So let's talk a little bit about this cold weather outfit, because that's one of the keys of riding in cold weather, is making sure you're dressed properly. Now, I mentioned before about the old days with leathers and leather coats and leather chaps. One thing that's great about leather is it does cut down a little bit of the wind, but it also breathes. I mean, it's literally the skin of a cow, and so it does breathe a little bit. So you're not going to be completely waterproof, and you're not going to be completely windproof in leathers. It will keep a lot of the wind out, but it's not perfect. I mean, most of my life I've ridden with leathers, and I still do. I still have my leather jackets, and I still have my chaps that I wear in the cold weather. But to be honest with you, the last couple years I've started looking other directions. You know, I used to make fun of the guys in the early ADV suits. You know, they get out there and they all look like soldiers, hut 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 hut. And I'll tell you, I apologize to each and every one of you ADV riders, because I used to goof on you a lot. However, I actually went out because of the Trans-America Trail and bought a inexpensive ADV outfit. I say inexpensive, but it's not cheap. The one I've got was similar to the brand, similar to what my textile jacket is that you guys have been seeing on the channel the last couple of weeks, is the HWK. The HWK Moto, or Dual, they call it the DualSports outfit. Features a jacket that's insulated, is armored just like the textile jacket is. And then I also have the pants, which is the same thing. And I'll tell you what, there is no wind coming through this thing at all. It is warm. And so that's why I say, well, I gotta have a little bit of apology to you guys that are riding those suits. Now, I probably won't ride this suit year-round. That's not me. I'll still do what I normally do. But as far as for taking a Transamerica trail, because of the armor and the ability to have an outfit on, it'll make my clothes last longer. Does that make sense? It will give me the ability on the Transamerica trail to keep some of my clothes a little bit cleaner. You know, they're waterproof, so they're rain resistant. They're windproof, but they do have vents in them that you can open them up and let them breathe. Like right now today, it's 42 degrees right now. Beautiful sun out, but the thing will breathe and let the sweat out, but it won't let the wind in, and that's really important for hypothermia purposes. Now, I only have a t-shirt and jeans on underneath this thing, and of course it is only 30s and 40 degree temperature, but I'm still exceptionally comfortable and not overly warm, which is a good key to maintaining proper body temperature and comfortability, because in cold weather, that's your major factor, is keeping yourself from hypothermia. I mean, this is a test for you guys. We're at 40, let's say 40 degrees right now, and I'm riding about 45 to 50 miles an hour on this road. Check the wind chill. I'll put it on the screen here in a minute, what the wind chill is. But if you don't have that, you've got that wind blowing at you all the time like that, that's not a comfortable time, if you know what I mean. And that's one of the things you have to be aware of. You have to be comfortable. You have to be, because that'll make your ride a lot enjoyable. The cold will eat the energy right out of you if you get too oh, thank you, Mr. School Bus Driver. If you get too cold, it'll just eat the energy out of you. It won't be fun anymore, and your time on the motorcycle won't be pleasant, because right now we have some beautiful views, and I love riding in cold weather, and I especially love it now that I've got the right equipment. Like I said, for years I just rode with a leather jacket and leather chaps, and that was good. I mean, it was good enough. I didn't know any better. Now I do, and like I said, I'll put a link in the description down below of the put some pictures of it too, of the HWK outfit that I'm wearing right now. And as a first impressions, I've only got about 300 miles on the outfit. We've just started getting colder weather. I will give a full first impressions, and I'll dedicate a video straight to that down the road. But as part of my cold weather riding video, I wanted to mention it. It's very important to maintain body temperature. Now, that doesn't mean that your chaps and your leather jacket won't work either. No, that's still important, and I still will use that. Well, maybe not. This thing is really comfortable. I mean, it really is. I am not cold at all, like I said, and I only have, like I mentioned before, a t-shirt and jeans underneath this. I've got my big boots on. I got my cowboy boots I always wear when I ride, and so that's a norm for me anyways, and they keep the wind out pretty well. In the summertime, I do wear some high military style hiking boots, and those are perfect for summertime, but I mean, the wind just rushes right through those. They're terrible on a day like today. Your feet would be frozen, and that's the part of the body that's going to get the coldest the quickest, is your feet and your hands. Unless you're not wearing a helmet, then it's going to be your head. But what I have on today is I have my lane splitter on, and I've doubled up on my gloves. I've got a pair of my Thrashin Supply gloves underneath, and they make a really good inner liner. And then I've got my thicker mechanics gloves on the outside of it. And again, I'm not feeling any wind. Now, it's 70 miles an hour, I probably would, so I'd wear my gauntlet gloves that I do for that situation. But right now, this type of temperature, 30s and 40, no, don't need them. I also have a gaiter on. You guys have seen those SA commercials all over Instagram and Facebook. I do wear those, and yeah, it keeps the wind off my neck and doesn't let it go up into my helmet, and it's really comfortable, so I encourage those as well too. Again, the whole idea is to maintain constant body temperature and be comfortable without getting fatigued by having the cold weather. Like I said, that'll rip it right out of you. The second thing I do here in the Buckeye State in the fall and winter and early spring is I start my engine at least 15 minutes before I'm ready to go anywhere. Pull her out on the pad, fire it up, and let her run. The worst thing you can possibly do to your engine is start it up in cold weather and jump on it and go. That is the worst thing you can do. You know, we're running 20 to 50 weight oil, 20 W50 in these bikes. Sometimes some people run 15 W50. I run 20 W50 in the bikes, Harleys, and also the Himalayan. And that stuff is like sludge when it's cold. So it's not going to go up into the top of your cylinder. It's not going to lubricate all the parts, and it'll cause wear on your engine. It'll scratch. The rings will scratch the cylinder walls. And man, that's a big no-no. So please, if you really want to extend the life of your engine and you don't want to have it going to the shop all the time, let it run a little bit. Let that oil get nice and warm and circulate through the whole bike. I mean, Harleys notoriously are cold-blooded anyway, so you really have to let them run. Even in the summertime, I start them up and let them run a little bit before I take off. Like I said, it'll increase the life of your engine by using good quality oil and making sure that the bike is close to I mean, that's the reason why you have to let your engines come up to operating temperature before you check your oil. The third thing, and probably most the safety conscious thing that you can do, is talk about your tires. In the cold weather, your tires become harder. They don't have the adhesion on the road that it does in the warmer weather temperatures. Now, a lot of people say, well, this is just general information. Everybody knows this. No, they don't. A lot of guys will get out on their bikes in cold weather and ride them, and then they fall down in the gravel or they fall down in the corners because they don't have the adhesion they normally have in the wintertime or in the summertime. So it's critically important to let your tires warm up before you get hard in any corners. I don't even like to go extra hard in corners anyways this time of year because of that reason. I'm not going to get the grippiness on the road or the corners when its temperature is cold. So what I like to do is I like to swing my bike back and forth like this a little bit as I'm riding to get not only the center of the tire warmed up but the sidewalls as well. And I don't start going nutso into the corners, which I never do in the winter anyways. But I don't start getting crazier in the corners and leaning very far until the tires, I have at least 20 or 30 miles on them because they are cold and they lose their adhesion. Well, another tip I want to give you is also watch for black ice. Now, a lot of people say, well, you know, you don't have to watch for black ice. It's sunny out here. Some of these roads have these corners in that has the trees covering it. And like last night, we had a tremendous amount of rain here in east central Ohio. And in that rain, with the colder temperatures and the dew point being so low, that the roads really didn't dry out. I mean, we've got some spots on the road right now in the shadow areas that are still wet. And if it's near a bridge or a culvert that has some air can go underneath it, that can cause ice. Anything in that 30-degree weather pattern will cause that stuff to get a little slippery. I'm going to take you on a little curvy road right here. It's one of my favorite. You've seen this in videos before. It's the one that has the tunnel and also the covered bridge on it. But you're going to see in some of these pretty areas that's got trees and shade blocking them that there's possibility of some wetness, and that wetness could be black ice. Maybe not right today, but when the weather and the temperature starts to drop. I mean, if it's a sunny day and it's 12 degrees, I'll ride. I mean, I always have. I don't like to get my bikes overly salted, so I always make sure that it's a day that I can wash the bike soon afterwards, so I don't get the corrosion created by all the chemicals they put on the roads. But like right in this example right here, in that corner, I don't know if you can see, YouTube has a tendency not to have a tendency to pixelate and not give you a good picture in the high contrasting areas. But right here it's beautiful, but back in that shady area, there were some areas that had some wet dark spots on, and that's the places where the black ice will hurt you. In the corner, in the shade, in cold temperature. You have to be ever vigilant on the roads when riding in cold weather, because that's the last thing in the world you want to have happen, is go into a corner and think you're going to have a good time, and all of a sudden you're sliding across the road because your bike slid out from under you. This road is absolutely stunningly gorgeous, and here's this covered bridge that I've taken pictures of in the past. I love it. And like I said, look at this area right here. Let's I'm gonna steal this picture. I'm gonna put my flashers on real quick. I'm gonna just look at it for a second and make sure that I can steal that picture, because that is absolutely stunning. That's going to be my thumbnail. Maybe, I don't know. It's just beautiful. But you can see right here, see those wet spots? I don't know if you can see them or not. I'm gonna, hopefully I'll maybe try to expose it. If not, I just want to let you know that those are wet areas from the rain last night that were probably black ice this morning, because down here in this along this creek, it got cold. I think there's some temperatures last night in this part of Licking County that went down into the low 30s, and so that's where black ice forms. Again, being ever vigilant and knowing your limitations and knowing your bike's limitations in cold weather as well too. These are all tips that's really important for cold weather riding. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this video today, guys. If you did, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell notifications. That way you know when Old Man Ronin drops a new video, you can watch it. Make sure you share. That really helps a lot too. Let's say you're making a trip to see some of the beautiful foliage in the fall this year, and you're from, let's say, Tennessee, and you're going up into the northern states to see the foliage. You might have some cold weather. Maybe share this video of some of your buddies to let them know what you'd expect and what to do in cold weather temperatures. And make sure you comment, because you know what? I read all the comments and I comment on all the comments. Well, until next time, make sure you ride safe and keep her on two wheels, baby.